Hello, BookShark BootCamp. It's your community manager, Jana. Today is Monday, August 11th, and this is the Q&A for session 6. I went ahead and created a poll this morning to really hear and gauge how you guys are feeling about the start of this year, whether it is your first time homeschooling or just your first time homeschooling with BookShark. We all have these reoccurring fears about homeschooling. I myself was homeschooled for those who are new, and I did homeschool my children. My oldest are now in college, and my youngest just finished up her 9th year of BookShark. She's actually going to be doing some community college this year. So we are pretty much outsourcing the entire year. That may be adjusted depending on how this semester goes, but that is our plan for this year. So these reoccurring themes, one of the options was you just are not sure about how to keep your kids motivated. I think that is just a parenting issue that is maybe like on steroids when you homeschool. You have these ideas of like, it's a long day. How is it possibly going to get filled, especially when you have littles? I will say that if you are bringing your kids back into the home, they've been out of your home to a public, private, or whatever kind of schooling you chose to do, and now you're bringing them back in. It is going to take some time to remember what it was like to let them have free time, to let them play. When they were little, I don't remember, every day. They kind of seem to meld together now that I'm looking back. Our youngest just turned 16. Our oldest are going to be 20. But I do remember that I felt like, where did the day go? By the time they woke up, there were moments and hours where I thought, this day is never going to end. That it was just a truthful moment of mothering for me. But then as I look back, I think, where did the time go? So you will find rhythm. You will keep your kids motivated if you allow yourself to naturally just find a way that's going to work for you and your family. You are not going to be taking 8 hours a day to homeschool. And if you are, maybe that is by choice, but it is not by design with BookShark. We do not have curriculum that was created to take up your entire day. Our curriculum was created for you to be able to instruct your children and then have time to let them play, let them find the things that they really enjoy doing. Let them be creative. I've heard that play is actually letting your children digest the information that they've been given during instruction. So much like when you eat and your body digests, when you instruct your children, play gives their bodies, their minds, their creativity time to digest the things that they have been instructed in. So one of the biggest concerns on our poll was keeping everyone motivated. How do we do that? Well, I would say first and foremost, you keep your kids motivated by keeping on a type of schedule that doesn't make dread. Not that you have to be on a strict schedule. Like I said, when we talked about how to schedule out your day in the other session, I don't mean like 9 to 10 math and that's it. I just mean finding out a natural flow, making sure that you take those breaks, that 20-10 rule, however you're going to use that ratio, making sure that you leave time for curiosity, but also that you put time limits on things so you don't feel like it's dragging out all day. There is nothing worse than feeling like you have just been working all day and accomplishing nothing. So make sure that you use your planner, that you use your schedule, that you pencil things in that you are going to do, that you do, so that you can visually see your accomplishments, because there are days where it's going to feel like you have not accomplished much. But the beauty of literature-based learning is that you are going to be engaged in stories and enhance those stories. Enhance those stories with playtime, with drawings, with being able to creatively build maybe the villages that you're talking about, or the towns, or different battlefields. I mean, there's just so many things that in the beginning, your children may give you pushback, and it might just be finding what works for your kids, finding recipes to go along with the culture that you're learning about. But doing these creative things to engage all of their senses, to have fun in learning. So it is not just feeling like you have to do this. It is just something that you're getting done. You want it to be fun. You want to enjoy yourself as the homeschool parent as much as the homeschool student. That doesn't mean every day the birds are going to be chirping and like the Disney movies, they just fly into your home and everything is just beautiful and sunny. So make sure that you build in those flex days when you have times where you're just not going to get it done, that you just know that you can shut it down. You can do what you guys want to do. If that is free reading, if that is just free play, if that is watching a movie, documentary, if you want it to be educational, there's so many things that you can incorporate to keep you guys motivated, to keep you going. I feel like one of the things that motivates me is being able to see what my expectation is and then when I accomplish that expectation. So that is what this boot camp is about. Just finding tips and tricks and ways to help you find your rhythm in your homeschool. Another one that was high on the list was finding enough hours in the day. Now, I am not a good stay at home mom. I never was. I wanted to get our work done or even take our work with us. I am an out of the house kind of gal. I feel like my four walls close on me really fast, especially when the weather is bad. So, finding community and being engaged in activities that you and your kids can look forward to, whether that is going to the library and just having time to go play in the children's area. And then maybe you'll run into other homeschoolers if you're not aware of any or you haven't built a community yet around homeschool. The library, an amazing resource. Facebook, I actually was just on my community page today and saw that there is a young theater or young actors theater in our community, and they have a homeschool group. There are plenty of dojos and different types of gyms that offer homeschool times because as all the kids and families are going back into the routine of public school and being not available during the week, they then have time to open it up to us homeschoolers. So, between your library, between your Facebook pages, between your communities, another thing at the library, if you are offline and you don't want to be part of the social media, there are definitely posts at the library. There are still boards that they use. Now they'll post an event and put a QR code, so you'll have to scan it with your phone. But there's just the library is a great resource, you guys. If you have a small library and maybe you're not finding community there, I would encourage you to look online and find homeschool groups, maybe just ones that meet up occasionally at a park or more organized, like a theater group, something that your child is interested in. You don't have to give up what they're interested in order to homeschool. You can actually pair it together. And with BookShark only having 4 days a week, it's a great opportunity. I know my girls, we did a PE class with, man, I would say probably 100 homeschool kids when we lived back in Colorado, and that was a great resource for us. My girls made a lot of friends there. And then my older two actually ended up being part of a homeschool group that did dances, so they didn't have to miss out on that. Like my younger one's a little bit different. We haven't found quite that community here on the East Coast, but like I said, she's getting older. She actually works, and so she's building her own community by getting outside and meeting people that way. But you will find that either you have this fear of not having enough time to get everything done, or what are you going to do with all of your hours? Just remember, keep it simple. Stick to the schedule that you've created. Remember the 20-10 rule. Make sure to take breaks. And when it's done, it's done. And the beauty of homeschool and BookShark is if you have not finished exactly what you had planned to do, you just start it up the next day. There is no right or wrong or rules that say it has to be done all in day one. It can move to the next day and then you finish it and you start the next part. There's so much flexibility. And I want you guys to start your year with this idea of being flexible with so many things, with how your kids respond to this new type of schooling, with how you respond to their responses to the new type of schooling. Give yourself permission to be able to just go with the flow. And if you have to actually like move your body a little bit, if you have to like give yourselves cues, if you're feeling your anxiety rise up because it's not turning out the way you had anticipated, maybe just stop and just, I'm going to go with the flow. It's funny. One of my girls was labeled the happy hippie in preschool. We did not homeschool when my twins were in preschool. And I got to preschool one day and they were like, "Oh, where's Happy Hippie?" And I was like, "Who are you talking about?" Because at home, this child was so rigid. And if you told her no or didn't do it her way, forget it. But when she got in the presence of others, she became this happy hippie. So I want you guys to envision yourselves as the happy hippie, going with the flow, finding your rhythm, knowing it's going to take a little while before you get into a groove. And that is the beauty of it. That is how it is meant to work, because I can't tell you what your homeschool day is going to look like. What worked for us wouldn't work for you. You might be a mom who's like, "I'm so glad I don't have to get dressed or leave my house every day of the week," where other parents are going to be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait to get out of this house." So everyone is different. Every child is different. I had two that wanted to leave the house with me and one that refused to put her shoes on. It's finding the natural pace for you and your family. And BookShark, it gives you the things that you can do. Again, it's like a buffet. We give you this huge amount of reading and material, and you can go through it at your pace. Stop when you start to feel full, put it down, pick it back up when you're ready. There are days, obviously, and weeks that we give you as a good outline, but don't get too caught up in it. We like to say, don't let your IG or your instructor's guide dominate how you homeschool. It's there to actually just walk alongside you and give you some confidence as you homeschool. The last thing that some of the percentages have mentioned was, am I doing enough academically? And I want to assure you that when you have a curriculum like BookShark, you are doing enough academically. It is designed to hit and fit not only the age of your child and your children, if you are doing family style learning, but also the amount that is given. It's not about being able to repeat facts or figures necessarily. It's about understanding the concepts and the ideas of learning and being excited about learning. So if your 6-year-old isn't remembering what you did on day one, do not worry. You did not remember what you did on day one and at 6 either. It's a building, it's a process, it's a journey. So rest assured, you are doing enough. I have plenty of success stories to talk about of people who homeschooled using BookShark, whose children are now in college and or graduated college. Actually two of our advisors, one I know for sure is in our group. She has graduated 4 of her 5 children, and 2 chose to go on to college, and they both graduated from college in May. And this is the kicker, both gainfully employed. Okay, you guys, so deep breath. You are going to find enough time in the day. You only have 4 days a week with BookShark. That can be stretched out into 6 if you want to do smaller increments and only do a little bit at a time, especially as you get into the beginning. I'm going to talk again about a rolling start as we do our live for next week. You are doing enough academically. As long as you do something and you progress, you are doing enough. And you will stay motivated. There's going to be days you're not motivated. That's why you have flex days. That's why we're only 4 days a week. But find things that excite you about the next day. And one of those things that could be is that when we read through our read alouds with our lower levels, and you can actually continue to read aloud even into the higher and high school levels, that is your choice, is we really do tend to end on a cliffhanger. We want your kids to want you to go more, to go longer, but we also end so that there's something to look forward to tomorrow. For those of us who had to wait an entire week for the next episode of a show, remember those to be continued shows, and you'd have to wait for a whole week and there was nothing we could do about it. That's kind of how this idea of ending on a cliffhanger with a book is. It's building the anticipation. It's getting them excited that they want to do it the next day. And while you absolutely could continue and keep reading, no one's going to stop you from doing that. But keep in mind, like, part of that delayed gratification, even in school, is building character and excitement and curiosity. So those are some of the tips I have about the poll. I'm going to keep watching that. I want to really address some of the things that you are feeling as we're starting to homeschool. There was a question that I'm also going to address. I'm going to pull up some helpful things here. One of our bootcamp members was asking about the laminated maps. Okay, this is a laminated map for the, oops, I probably should look that way, the lower levels. And then as you get into the higher levels in high school, the maps are actually going to be paper mapped like this. Okay. So I'm going to pull up some visual aids to help us here. Let's see. Perfect. Okay. So this is actually a screenshot from our virtual. If you guys are unfamiliar with BookShark Virtual, it's the assessments online instead of in the paper guidelines, instead of the paper instructor guides. They're actually online, and then your kids can do activities and assessments and have them scored immediately. This is just a screenshot from there so you guys can see. This is talking about the big markable map. Okay. And it looks like for this one, we're in, actually, this is from level B. It's talking about Norway. So they'll have coordinates. So you'll go B and you'll go B6, and then you will find, let's see, my marker's not really working, but you'll find Norway. Okay. That is how you will use the big markable map. Here is another one. Here we go. So note on your markable map, the coordinates, again, this one is for Asia, and then the Middle East, North America, Europe, all from this big map. All right. So that is how you're going to use the markable map. You have erasable markers for the markable map for that reason. And then same thing with the laminated maps inside. I'm going to show you one more that's actually a screenshot. This is how it would look like in a mapping assessment on the virtual side. So instead of using your physical laminated map, finding the coordinates and marking it, really it's the same thing, but it's for this one, it's drag and drop. So again, we would drag and drop Europe, North America, Middle East, and Asia. These all tie into the readings that you are doing. So I'm going to go ahead and reference back to the world map here, the markable map. But on this one, for world history for high school, they are talking about the dawn of civilization. And so they want them to look at Crete, which is going to be on map 7. So let me show you. So you're in here, you're going to find map 7. Okay. And this one has a lot of different parts and pieces that they're going to be going, but each one gives them instructions, and it's going to direct them as they are reading through the different areas about civilization. Okay. This is what we consider our geography as part of BookShark's curriculum. The expectation is that as you familiarize your students with the history, the culture, the stories, they're going to be able to see where in the world that is actually taking place outside of their front door of their community. So the expectation is that you're really just going to make sure that they have an awareness of each and every place that we're talking about. You will have an icon in the instructor's guide on your schedule of when you're supposed to pull out your maps. Again, you have the large map. It is the world on one side, the US on the other. And then you have your laminated maps, one for each level. Okay. And it's going to give you coordinates to find them. It'll tell you which map. It'll say map 1, 2, or 3, etc. And then coordinates. And then if you have the older, you're going to have paper maps, and they're actually going to dot it in. And that's part of their assessments. If you want to see what the assessment looks like online, again, on our virtual, like a drag and drop is an option. So, all right, you guys. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Okay. Sorry. So sorry about that. Yay for a live stream. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm excited about your question, your answers in the poll. We're going to keep talking about this. We are going to do everything that we can to get you guys comfortable and moving forward. And I'm not going to promise that you're going to feel like a pro on day 1 of week 1. But as we work through this together, you're going to feel more and more confident about your choices in homeschooling with BookShark. That's all I have for today. I will see you guys on Wednesday for our live session 7. See you later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.